Did you go to our last meeting?
Yeah.
So typically we always have them here, but we'll go through that when we start the meeting.
Printed everything you gave me out.
Oh, yeah, I printed one document.
Yeah,
That one was too much.
Yeah. It's the other one. I said, we didn't print one of them out for some reason, but the other stuff's good. I like it. But there's only a couple of things on the agenda and that's it.
I got two. Can I steal yours, Noise?
Sir?
I got two.
No. Agenda?
Yeah.
Did you go to the art thing?
There may have been one laying on that.
I took the mayor's.
Took everything.
Yeah, he wanted it all.
My gosh. Winter Texans are taking it over, man. It is
Every day.
crowded. It's crowded. So yeah, I did kind of.
So we got Paula, Rowan, Rick, Rebecca's not here. Chief's on the way.
Oh, I do have
there you
that.
are. How you doing, Rebecca? There's Chief. We got Noise.
We're still missing.
King.
You can have a seat at dinner.
I know it. I just can't spit it out of my mouth right now.
Hey. Yeah, you can sit
Yeah.
there. The hot
You
seat.
can be mayor.
How are you?
What's her name?
So.
Got the big
I
blonde
know.
dog
I
Riley.
know I went to the animal shelter board and it's not updated, it's still 2006.
She was in the last meeting.
Oh, is she? Yeah. Cause I couldn't remember everybody. I didn't want to.
If they get up line.
Trying to see.
I have a small bag of flea and heartworm stuff in my car.
Okay.
Are you itching?
Thanks, Lisa.
All right, y'all guys ready to start? We have everyone?
Is that it? Can you read off the names, Lawrence?
We've got Paula, Joellen, Rick, Rebecca, Scott, Chief, Burrows, Noise, and Pam.
Pam. That's the name I couldn't get
Is
out.
that who we're missing?
Yeah. I could
Okay.
not get
I
it
guess
out.
We'll wait a few more minutes.
I know her dog's name is Riley.
Does anyone have her phone number?
I have her on Facebook. I don't have her number. Yeah, she might be at the community center.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody else there, but
She showed up late.
Huh?
We can note it in the minute that she showed up late.
Okay. So I'm glad you're here.
And
Whenever they're wanting more notice, we'll talk about that here in this meeting.
So yeah, if you want to go ahead and call the order. And
Everyone ready?
Yes.
Okay. Call to order. Thank you guys for everyone for being here. Do we have anyone signed up for comments? Citizen comments?
no citizen comment.
No citizen comments. All right, we'll jump into items for consideration. First up is capital improvements, and then after that, we have animal shelter control update from Control Officer Rick Gleason, and then discussion on the next meeting. So to start off, I'm going to include within my capital updates report. City Councilor Kruger was requesting more notice upfront about meetings. So just for
Sorry.
Go ahead.
You're on agenda item A, so we need to discuss that agenda item first.
correct. I don't really see where all I can really conclude what we're discussing right now.
I can see if
Maybe,
it's time to discuss the agenda item and scheduling the next meeting.
yeah, like.
Yeah.
What I do is within
That
C?
Item C.
sure. We can do that. All right, if everyone's comfortable with that, I'll just continue with capital and we'll discuss that and see. So, reached out to Emily Rosenpaul. She's our architect with EDR Architects. Asked her for an update that I can share with the board today for the design on our building. At this point, they are waiting for Urban Engineering to do a survey on the property. So I reached out to Urban Engineers. They will have that deliverable to Emily Rosenpaul, EDR Architects, by next Friday. So hopefully we can get a little bit more traction at that point, but she's needing that before she can proceed.
I think they showed up yesterday and actually surveyed everything.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. To remind everyone, I'll just kind of go over where we're at to date. I know that we've got some emails from some of the board members here sharing information on different topics, things such as hospital kennel design and the SPA needs study assessment. I've reviewed those documents and I've shared that also with our architect. So thank you all for sharing that really interesting information that people have shared with us, our board members. Going back over what we have currently. At our last meeting, we did discuss some designs of the proposed future layout of the building and existing layout. I have copies of those here. It's the same copies from last meeting if anyone wants those. And again, if anyone has any recommendations to change or what they'd like to see differently, to the proposed design, please let me know. Whether we discuss that now or just shoot me an email at any time, and I'll definitely get that to our engineer or our architect, excuse me. Another update is we did sign the architectural and engineering design service proposal with EDR Architects. That's at a cost of $40,000, but what we will get from that is architectural design, structural windstorm engineering, mechanical, electrical, plumbing engineering, civil engineering, architectural barriers study, and we'll get a deliverable of files at the end of all that. So this is just kind of a standard contract for architectural design, but want to let everyone know that that has been executed or proceeding. Again, this item, I have something else I want to talk to you all about. I think I'll save it for whenever we get into operations on item B. And I got correspondence from one of our board members. We'll talk about that in B, since we're talking capital right now. And that is it. Are there any questions about the capital project at this point? Sorry, I don't have any more information for y'all. It's just our architect hasn't gotten too far into it yet, but as soon as that survey comes through from Urban Engineering, we'll get a little bit more traction. Okay, we'll move on to item B, Animal Shelter Control Officer update by Animal Control Officer Rick Gleason.
Well, I think you pretty much updated everything I did. We're still just waiting on to see what's going to happen on the building. There's one little design I'd like to change, or just one little thing to fix on that, but that's about as far as my update goes.
Okay, very good.
How many dogs and cats do you have in there right now?
Too many.
I know.
Cats roughly 15 or 20.
Yeah.
Quite a few kittens.
I saw that.
Quite a few kittens. Dogs, 10, 9, 10.
We have 20 cats. 21.
You said you're, I thought you were counting.
No, he's
counting. He said, how many?
Yeah, this kennel has, this one has 3.
So anybody looking for any dogs or cats? Or?
We do have-
The sad part is it just kind of comes and goes. You never know
Right.
who's going to come in. Forever, everybody wanted the little orange ginger cats.
Oh.
I've got a cage full of them.
You got
And nobody, the little schnauzer we got, full-blooded, up to date on everything, house broken as sweet as can be.
10 years old.
Not one call.
Is he the 10-year-old?
Yeah. Yeah, the shelter is kind of hit and miss.
Yeah, I know. I was just
So-
wondering, and
No, we're sitting on what we got.
did we have that many cats last year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Last year we had the horny cakes. We had 70 cats in one house.
Oh, the place. Never, well, besides that.
70 in one house.
Besides
Yeah.
that.
You want to talk a little bit about that software program?
Yeah, so we did get approved to purchase the software program that we're using. It's called Buzz to the Rescue, or Buzz to Rescues. I'm still waiting to get with Sparky to be able to set everything up. So once it's purchased and we get it all set up, we'll be able to post every dog we have will be able to be posted on that site. We'll be able to integrate our Facebook page, If we wanted to make an Amazon wish list, like if people wanted to buy like dog food or whatever, they could purchase it straight from the link from the website, things like that. So once everything gets purchased and me and Sparky get together, we'll get it all set up. And then once that happens, hopefully by next meeting, I'll have more information on it. And that software will be able to use by phones, things like that. So you can just pull it right up on your phone, everything like that. It can do adoption forms from the website, foster applications. They can send surrender applications to us and we can approve or disapprove, and they'll get an email saying, you know, your animal's been approved to be surrendered, things like that. We can also, if the city will let us, you know, put like donation buttons on each animal, like let's say we have an animal that's sick. You can donate strictly to just that animal. You can go to their profile, hit donate, and it'll donate strictly to that animal so that any funds for that animal go there. It's that account.
I think
And so
that
on and
part
so
has to
forth.
be approved.
Yeah, that's what I said. If the city approves it,
Yeah.
we'll be able to do that.
And what's the name of it?
It's Buzz to the Rescues,
Okay.
Buzz to the Rescue, or Buzz to the Rescues.
Okay,
That's great.
Yeah, no, that's a nice.
And then also, it will also integrate like pet finder for animals and things like that. So goes like every little website you can post dogs on, our dogs will be put on there automatically.
awesome,
So people were searching in Port Aransas, you know, all our dogs will pop up on there.
good.
That's something that we've needed for a long
Mm-hmm.
time.
Are we still sending dogs up north after hard winters?
Excuse me?
Yeah, at one time, we were shipping dogs to rescue agencies up north.
And that's only of a rescue group to tags that we have never specifically sent from our shelter. We don't do the
I'm
transport.
just thinking about years ago under, what was his name?
I know Pee Wee's does that, right, yeah.
Pete Reese takes a lot
Yeah,
of.
because he explained to me why it worked, because all their dogs die in the wintertime.
Yeah.
That are stressed out.
There's a couple rescues that we work with, but not even the rescues are pulling right now. There's
We come down here and pick them up and haul them off as
Yeah.
a charitable activity.
Yeah, Pete Wee's is about the only one, and they will only take dogs under 15 pounds.
All right, well, to give everyone a little update. I know last time we were talking about donations and ways of getting that done. I don't know how we pull up. Melinda, do you know if there's a way to pull up this laptop that I have in front of me on that screen, or should I just show them the screen?
You're the one that.
Thank you so much. So if you go to the city's website, underneath the police department, there is the animal control website. This is their webpage. We added this pop-up, and I just wanted y'all to take a look at it and see if y'all were okay with how it reads or any recommendations about that.
That's great. I think that's pretty much what I had to do.
Yeah.
When I
Is
donated.
there any way to get a separate item for the shelter? I mean, not as a layperson, I don't know that I would look under the police department's website to find animals.
That's another good thing when we set up our website with the software program, it can actually integrate into the city's website. So let's say they do make a separate tab for animal
Right.
control, you'll click that and it'll actually have a link to our website. So you can go straight from there to there, or even vice versa. If you're on our website, you know, look at the city's website, you can also click from our website to the city.
Right, yeah,
Because on this, we don't control this. This is controlled
right,
by.
I understand that. It's just, you know, if I found a dog or lost a dog or was wanting to check out your shelter, I would not click on the police department.
Sure.
I agree.
I'm gonna close this pop-up and go down the page. Some other things that we kind of spruced up here is, you know, here is a link to their website. I'm sorry, their Facebook, right there.
Right.
And then lost and found pets can be viewed here. And then just a reminder that we're always accepting volunteers. But you can see this is kind of every department has its own site within the city website. Let me show you guys how it looks now. When you go up to government. I'm sorry, departments.
Yes.
Then under police, you can see animal control right there. That's the way it's crafted right now.
Departments is.
Wait, you have animal control above Next
You
to
hit animal
airport.
shelter, it just goes,
Yeah.
gives you
Airport, top
Yeah.
left corner.
anyone wishing to donate.
Oh, animal control, yeah, sure enough.
Yeah,
it's
you
right
click on
there.
that and it says your pop-ups there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, very
All right.
good.
It already happened.
So it is already broken out. Okay, it's in
it's
two
there.
spots. Hey, that's great. All right, so it's already done.
Excellent.
Thanks.
One
Good
thing
point.
has to be edited though.
Oh, yeah?
I spelled my name. My
Oh,
name is
really?
Randy.
Where is it?
Randy Grimes, my name's not Randy. Close enough.
You be Randy this day.
Yeah, I'm Randy today.
Oh, okay, sure.
I'm
I will make a note of that.
like, is Randy there? I don't have a Randy here.
How do you want it spelled?
You can look for, yeah, Robert, ROBERT.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Very good. So that's the way we're proceeding right now. Hopefully that helps us out, or we can at least kind of navigate the public to that and hopefully capture, the donations that we were discussing and any volunteers also.
There's no way to put a donation button on the Facebook page.
I think to do what I want to call credit card way, there are ways, but you have to pay a little fee. So
That's why if the city does, if the city approves
the
us to do
program,
that,
Yeah,
our program can integrate that into
Right.
the system, if the city approves it.
Right.
So the city says it's okay. It actually has its own built-in program, like the software itself has a program where you can do like monthly.
Sure.
Repeat things like that.
we just have so much more contact through Facebook than we do this city page.
Chief, is this something that was budgeted for them this year, or are they recommending for them maybe the next budget, that software?
The software is already purchased,
So,
right?
yeah.
Or in
We've already got one software, we're just changing out software, it's relatively inexpensive, it wasn't specifically budgeted.
Okay.
We got plenty of money in our operations funds to cover it.
Oh, good deal. So then, once this gets rolled out, like you're saying, you'll have two ways to donate. We've got this pop up here and then also the credit card way coming through that.
if the
software.
city approves the credit, if the city approves doing that,
Right.
because that has to be approved to the city for us to be able to. do
I
something
think
like that.
we will definitely proceed that way if chief believes that that's okay, if this all goes through as we're discussing.
Can't you also link this with a
Link to that.
website link or whatever within your Facebook page?
Yeah,
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I have asked that question and asked, like, whenever we post anything, and always ask, you want to donate button? No, that's why we have this young man. I know
Yeah.
nothing
So
about
that's-
computers. I don't
Just
know.
a
Yeah.
CR website or
Yeah,
CR
once
city page,
because
yeah.
it should, I haven't looked that far in the Facebook page, but the Facebook page might have the website on there. And that link might send you here, but once we get our own software, when we get our own website made, that will replace that link to where you'll be able to go to our website and do that.
Yeah. Right. Yes. Young guy.
When does this come before city council for this approval
Approval for what?
of the software?
It doesn't need to.
Oh, I heard it
No.
be approved by city council.
Just a minute, get
Well,
it all
he
set up.
wanted to do a
Donation.
donation, an option to donate funds, and that would have to be, we don't have that mechanism in place right now.
So when will that be up to the city council?
City council doesn't need to approve anything we're discussing at this point. They approve the budget and, if, each line item, right, for each budgeted, each department has its own budget. And there are specific line items in there, as long as it's justifiable, the expense within that line item and its description, council's already approved those monies. So Chief's saying that this is something that fits within the existing budget. That was my question. Is it for this budget or next budget, right? And it sounds like it's gonna fit within this budget, so it'll happen this year. So that's good news. It's basically already pre-approved from council.
Do we know how much that is? Chief, for this?
It's $500 more.
But I mean, that's approving the software, but the line item for a donation button, that has to go. Get approved.
Well, we don't have a mechanism to collect the donations. So that falls in a separate department, so,
So you're waiting till you have the software so that it might be better to track it.
and there may be other departments that they may want to incorporate while when they do that, they want to do donations for parks and rec or donations for,
Oh, so could that work for all of them?
I don't know.
Oh, oh, I get you. Okay, okay.
We'll get our ducks in a row.
We could share the expense.
I think this is something that we can visit with what finance department about where do these monies go, like the bank account, if you will, like
Right.
setting that up.
Right.
So I think once the software gets here, we'll have to take a look at how it's created or driven. All right, any other questions on that topic? I think we're making pretty good progress there, and we'll see whenever the software rolls out, maybe we can discuss it at that point. That'll be the next to come. Moving on to the next thing, I got emails from multiple of y'all, and thank y'all for sharing all the information, Rebecca and Paula. Thank y'all for everything, a lot of good info. One of the latest things that we received was an email from Miss Paula Monday, and it's kind of a schedule of new intakes, and it's got some really good information on here. What I wanted to share with the board is I'm reviewing this information and sharing it with staff, you know, Rick and Chief and everyone, and we're gonna look into you know, our protocols and our operations and see how we can try to incorporate some of this. So staff's gonna continue to digest this and do a little research, and hopefully we'll have something to present and share with y'all next time for consideration. I guess along the lines of intake protocols and other related protocols. With that, do you have anything you'd like to add? It's fine.
No, I mean, basically, it's some information that I originally helped work with 4 or 5 years ago. A lot of times it's just not being tracked. So that's where the software will be
program is gonna
so
help.
helpful
Yes.
to track what all we do. But I think in addition, we need to be looking at budgets for being able to institute some of those protocols. So if we're gonna vaccinate and deworm and heartworm test or whatever, all of the animals when they arrive, we need to start coming up with how much are we spending on an animal, and for good quality care, how much should we be spending on an animal? How do we budget for that? Or how do we recoup that money when we adopt them out? Because it's totally doable. And so I've been trying to look into, and I don't have very many numbers yet, but I have a few. How much it would cost to do your own heartworm checks, for instance, your own leukemia test, your own deworming, as opposed to bringing them to us at the clinic where, yeah, we have an overhead and it's charged more, but there's a lot that we do for the shelter that could be done in-house. And
A
would
lot of
save
it.
a lot of money.
If we can.
Let's
buy
say
like a
schedule
SNAP
time for
test,
you.
you know,
Yeah.
if we can get like the SNAP tests and different things for a heartworm test, but it's a dependable test. And again, all of that is budget. You know, we got to looking.
Well, it's budget, and it's also the know-how of, like, how are you at blood draws? Stuff like that, like teaching the staff to be able to do it, but so much of it could be learned and taught, and especially if you considered looking for a part-time or a technician or somebody to stay within the shelter to clean and manage the health of the animals.
Kennel tests.
A kennel tech, yes.
Yeah, and I agree. You know, this protocol that you shared with us for the intakes, shared it with Rick, and I was like, you know, review this and start kind of considering what these things may cost. And if you want to share costs with me too, this is something like the budget's already set for the year, 5,000 with, you know, the 280,000 for the capital project, and then there's 19,000 roughly in the donation fund. As we start to go through the year, you know, we get our new building, and then we start talking about trying to track all these costs for things we're recommending with the protocols. The next budget, we will discuss that more with the city council about here's what we're changing there, and here's what we anticipate the costs to be. And, you know, that way we'll bounce it off them to get approved within that next budget starting October 1. But yeah, so he's studying costs, and if you got some studying costs,
Yeah, I
share
mean,
'em.
one small example is a heartworm test. These animals should be tested so you know whether or not a new owner is going to incur the cost of treating them, or whether this animal is too sick to even be adopted. We at the clinic run what's called a 4DX. Now it checks heartworms, but it checks for 4 other tick-borne diseases. We charge $47 for that test that cost us around 25 or 30. You, as a shelter situation, do not need to incur that expense. You can run that same test at a cost that's less than $10 a test.
Or the $70 office visit, you get the test.
Well,
And you know, looking at the budget, last year we
Exactly.
spent $11,000. That's without any of the snap test lead. We spent $11,000 on what we did with our animals last year, just in your office.
Which
That's
I would
not-
like to keep most of your animals out of my office.
Yeah, I would love to do
We
that.
just
That's why
spay and
we do.
neuter, but we are seeing animals that are coming in sick because they didn't get some of the treatment that they needed or the care that they should have gotten in the beginning. And then I have an owner that says, Rick said they'll pay for it. And I'm like, this should be on you because you didn't bring this animal in 3 months ago. You adopted it.
When
It
they
should
come
not
to
be.
that shelter, they get vaccinated, they get wormed, and they get sent to you guys. Now, if they show up this week to get vetted, or they show up this time next year, you have come across that. We cannot make them go to the vet's office. When they come in,
But I think.
we
there's
pay
better
for our
ways to-
vaccinations.
Yeah.
I think a flat of our vaccinations for the dogs, part of it is temper, coccidies, coronas. I think that runs $400 a flat. We went through 3 flats last year just on dogs. And that's basically because we can't afford a $70 per shot office visit plus the $20 per shot. So
But
we
you know, I
try to do
don't make
that.
any, you know, I am just a relief at it, so I make no cost. I mean, no,
And
I'm not part of that.
just for the record, Dr. Baker has come in and helped just on her spare time. She comes in and
Right.
throws out time and helps with our sick animals. She's been
But
fantastic.
yeah,
about
I
it.
think there are ways that we can improve the efficiency and keep some of the animals out of the shelter. We don't hardly have time for all of those
Oh,
offices.
that's,
I worked 13 hours yesterday,
I've got people
7
telling
till
me,
8.
I've got people telling me
And
they're
just-
returning animals because they can't get them in your office. We have people calling to tell us they're gonna bring the animals back because they can't get them in your office.
It's insane. It's insane how busy we are, but we've got to keep some of your animals healthier and not even.
So that statement's not true, because if you call ahead and schedule and have a planner or some sort of schedule, you can get an animal in their office. That is not true. I'm not being
No.
adversarial with you.
No,
That's an excuse.
well, yeah, I think to
You
some
can get,
extent.
I have
You know,
animals,
I don't have a problem calling their office and I'll tell them I got this, and this, and Rick, can you bring it in right now? Or
but
I'll
people
get you
can't
in.
say that. People can't return to you and say that.
I've got.
And
well, I'm not
there's
gonna
been
say that.
other,
I've got a
people come
guy,
through
I was
here and
telling
get
me his
shots
cancer breeding
for
because
free.
he couldn't get in the office. Well, I know your common sense would say, no,
I
that's not
understand.
true.
It's not
But-
true.
You know, let's- moving forward,
Okay,
you know, we're
yeah,
talking
I'm not-
about protocol changes,
Yeah.
you know, and we're, Paula shared some great stuff and so have you, Rebecca, thank y'all. And I'm gonna do some research and we're gonna work on a new
Thanks, Steve.
protocol, so that'll help. And we'll get that to operations, right? We'll navigate this through the board on some protocol changes. Just give me a little time to work on that and research it. And then also, we're talking budget, we're trying to figure out how to, you know, what will these costs be per the protocol changes we're recommending, right? Because there's no point in having a new policy if you don't fund it. So that'll come after that, like we'll figure out protocol and then we'll start tracking costs. And recommend that on our next budget. But also, let's just not forget that we did cover the CIP, and I hate to discuss it again, but with that new project in place, it's gonna help them immensely. I mean, they're building
We'll have our
just,
moving areas.
We can clean.
you know,
we
for
can
the
pay,
cleaning, the
we-
coordination, and just the overall animal care, that should help too. So all of this stuff's gonna, you know, come to fruition and it'll,
Absolutely.
I think we'll all get up to.
We'll be able to isolate them.
total expense last year.
Excuse me?
What did you spend last year?
Oh, my goodness, I've been trying to figure out, because I knew it was gonna come up in this.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I don't have an exact number, but I know it was
11,000 at the vet.
10,800 at the vet. That's not including our dog food or cat food or litter or anything like that, or the miscellaneous, like
Right.
the flats of vaccinations that we get, the ringworm medicine, the worm medicine I buy off Amazon. A rough guess, I
Yeah.
can give you that,
That's fine.
18 to 20,000, and that's before any of the new stuff is implemented.
Okay.
You know, we do everything we can up there.
Yeah.
Without asking a veterinary, without going to the veterinarian office. So I
And
say
that
Dr.
is-
Baker has stepped in and
That
helped us.
20,000, that's including the vet or besides the vet?
I would think that's with the vet.
Okay, okay.
Yes, by the time
Just
you
get
count the
some kind of
food
number.
and just all the
Yeah.
strains.
expense of 18-20,000, but we have a budget of 5.
Right.
Where's that coming from?
I'm depending on nothing but donations. That's why and again, this has come up before. I do not dump money in the animals up there, and I don't mean it to sound like dumping, but I cannot afford to put the money. $500 in a dog to get it spayed, neutered, up to date, flea hormone medicine, everything else, and it's not gonna leave the building. It will eventually get euthanized, so we don't put money in them, we don't neglect them, we make sure that if there's anything sick or anything else, I will call you, I will show up at the vet's office. But I can't depend or count on what's gonna be a donation next month, so I try to be a little thrifty with what I have and don't spend until I have to spend it.
Well, I mean, that's true for spays, neuters and heartworm treatment, but you've got to
We do the vaccine.
prevent disease through vaccinations.
Yeah, but a lot of this new program is gonna help
You're treating
because
them.
a lot of this new development program is gonna help because we will have an observation area. We will have a quarantine area where we can actually bring in dogs and separate them until they get in the general, until they get looked at. That's why we do, again, the vaccinations and the worming and everything at the shelter. I'm just trying to be thrifty with the money because I don't know when I'll get any more money, but to put it plainly. So even though there's X amount of dollars in the budget, I don't count that. I count $5,000. That's what I look at every time because I don't know. Again, like I say.
That's why it's very important to get this donation situation.
Well, that's why I'm always
Before
on
officials.
Facebook, I can appreciate the city page and everything. I can't even get to the city page. I'll never turn it on. I can't adjust it. I can't add anything or anything else. But anytime on Facebook, we need, and again, that's way above my pay grade to get that part worked out.
I mean, as of like right now, what we can do until we get that figured out, we can post on our Facebook page just a link. So that people can click on it and go straight to that page where they can see
Okay.
that
Okay.
for now.
This program
for
that
now,
is found,
good.
it seems like the miracle
Yeah.
program that will straighten a lot of this out. And I believe between that program and this, I think it's gonna change the shelter, just that alone. It's gonna change the dynamic of the shelter, the health of the animals and everything tremendously,
Because
tremendously.
when it comes to the software, when it comes like to notifications and things like that, if we get approved to be able to do the credit card thing, if we're allowed to do that. People can be, because you can, like how a monthly subscription is something, I can want $20 a month every month, take it out of my account. To the shelter, people can put it that way, just every month, $20 will go up if they choose.
Absolutely.
Or if they can do one lump sum or however they want to do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
we can
it's
tie
important
it-
to get it on the Facebook
Mhm.
page.
we can
Okay,
tie
now
it
you have the
to the-
link.
Absolutely, we can tie it to the Amazon deal that way also.
Yeah.
Where people can just purchase and go straight to us and Chewy's and everywhere else. That
Hmm.
program is gonna be a big help.
Definitely.
Thank goodness for young guys who.
That Amazon deal might be pretty good.
Yeah, because I think I have to go through Peggy to edit the Facebook page as far as like settings. So if I can get with Peggy or Sparky or whoever, I can post links on our page that can permanently stay on there. Like, because if I make just a post, eventually that post is gonna go
Yeah.
down our wall.
Yeah.
But if I can get with whoever I can to edit, I can put an Amazon wish link, a Chewy wish
In
link,
there.
or whatever website wish link.
Okay.
People can just have it delivered straight to the shelter or straight to PD or City Hall or wherever.
And those are all the things that people ask us constantly to come in the shelter. How do I do this? How do I
Yeah.
get Chewy's? How do I get?
Yeah,
How do I donate to this?
I mean, I just moved here and neighbors are asking me how to do this. And I don't know. I just said, just go take it. to the
So I do appreciate, these guys are hard at work at operations, like, responding to calls and
Yeah.
chasing down the animals, the boots, on the road. But I mean, they're also proactive with the social media and public outreach, about these animals. So, applaud you guys for all the effort you put into all this work between the two of you. And I mean, this is a large capital project we're undertaking now, and you guys have been instrumental in it. So thank you for everything. Yeah, we've got some updates we'll discuss as we keep having these meetings, and hopefully we can navigate through them. And before you know it, it'll be in the end of the year, and we can kind of give a report to council on recommendations that we're looking for, maybe an increase here or wherever we kind of figure it out once we get this protocol kind of hammered out. Are there any?
Sorry,
Huh?
can you remind me when
Yeah.
is your end of the year and when you start budgeting for the October 1
Yes, so we do, I think, from my understanding, budget goals workshop, is that typically?
July, yeah, right in the middle of
July,
July.
it's June, early July.
Okay. So right around that time frame, we'll kind of be giving presentations on the different departments and recommendations.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have some good stuff, I think, figured out by that time.
What do you think of the salary of a tech person?
A veterinary tech / kennel person. You're gonna be in the. Starting range would be 15 to 18, but somebody with some. Experience that could kind of run the place on their own would be. The upper end.
Okay.
I would say an experience what they can actually do computer work and kennel tech.
Yeah.
work. That's what we.
I mean, young people these days.
Oh my God, this boy right here, this young man right here.
Computers from the ground up. I don't know.
Yeah, young folks, they can do it and they've grown up with it and they've gone to school with it, so they know how to do that. But
I asked him in the
Pretty much
interview.
as long, like, if we do hire a kennel tech person, as far as like computer wise, I think we can pretty much cover that as long as maybe we can have somebody to help interact. That's the main thing, interacting with the animals, keeping them more social with people and helping, just like some of the cleanliness. As far as like technology wise, I think we can pretty much cover that.
The thing about that is, it's just a matter of networking.
Mhm.
If I've learned anything,
Yeah.
if you want to get rid of animals out of your shelter, you need somebody on that phone 8-10 hours a day. Networking,
you've got
transporting, who's looking, who's.
looking pictures and keeping them look
Yeah.
and then
8 hours a day.
every site out there, yes.
But if
So you do need somebody that can take pictures and load them and do all of the.
if you aim higher for a vet tech that has some experience, then they would be able to do all of those things in addition to these tests that you said that you could.
Yeah,
do
you need
in-
somebody that can do
in-house.
simple blood draws and
Right,
do the
right, right.
vaccinations.
So aim
Do
higher
the
for a vet tech.
dewormings.
Yeah.
And then I do think you need to be in that closer to 18 to 20 range.
Okay.
Um,
I was just
Especially if
curious.
Handling the animals also, yes, absolutely. That's kind of a physical job there.
I would say aim high. If you're gonna ask council for funds for that, aim high at 20 and see who. you can get.
Should be.
Because
It
things
should
are
be.
changing.
Y'all are spending so much time out on calls and stuff
Yeah.
that you need somebody left behind that stays
Right.
in
Yeah.
house.
I've said it, yeah,
That
yes,
It
ma'am.
just,
makes
it
sense.
needs,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that also helps in case somebody's gone, if you have to
Yeah.
call in sick, you have
Right.
somebody there to take care of that animal.
Right.
Because regardless of anything, the animal control part, the police does an excellent job. When we're not in, they'll pick up animals, they'll
Right.
take our traps, everything else. But in the same breath, somebody's gonna be there every day to feed those dogs and clean those kennels and
Right.
put water down.
Now, where is that somebody in Port Orleans?
Oh, my goodness, sir. That's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
That's the $1 million question. And again, it's gonna be about what that position pays.
Right, that's why I was
Right.
saying aim high because you don't know if you're gonna have to bring somebody from Corpus or Aransas Pass.
I mean, as it is right now, all of our technicians are from Aransas Pass.
Yeah.
That is why we are open at 7 AM till 4,
Right.
is so that
They
they
can
can
get back.
handle the ferry
Yeah.
without being in the 8 to 5 traffic.
Okay.
Let's say 7 to 4 is gonna be a nightmare
And,
also.
yeah.
In the summer.
And let me say, spring and summer.
So,
Yeah.
well, I didn't have to ride the ferry, but.
Yeah.
There are some days we get off work and I look at that line, if it's like 3 rows deep, I go through Porpoise. I'm
I
not
take
even.
the scenic.
Don't wanna sit down.
Yes.
Well, I get the calls from the technicians that are like, hey, the line's too long, will you come pick me up? So they'll just pedestrian cross and we go and we fetch them. That happens in the summer.
Yeah, if I didn't have to take, well, during the summer, my kids out of school, so I can walk across, no problem, but
Right.
I gotta take my kid to school, so I have to bear the line whether I like it or not some days.
Yeah.
All right, well, are there any other questions related to the operations of the animal shelter for Rick or any of the other staff?
Are you going to take into consideration that assessment, that was done by Corpus and how the animal shelter will need to grow?
Mhm. So I shared that specifically within that section. See if I can find it. with, where did I put that? Our architect. And I kind of, skimmed through that. What I pointed out to our architect for consideration, in the design of this building was within there, two of the documents I got, one of them had a section titled, I think the document was titled Hospital Kennel Design. I think you may have said that one, Paula.
I think it's- yeah.
And then the SPA needs study assessment, that's one you sent.
Yeah.
Starting on page 19, it had a bunch of recommendations on how to design a facility. So basically, I took those documents and shared them with our architect and said, hey, I'd like for you to be familiar with this and consider it in your design of this building.
Okay.
So hopefully after she gets a survey and she starts digging into the actual design, we may see a little bit more of what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe hopefully our next meeting will have something.
I'm concerned because,
No.
I can see
Not told.
development going on all around us, especially me, I can see that Marlin
Right,
subdivision, that's gonna be
No.
gigantic.
I know.
And that's gonna add how many people to the city?
Convex box.
So, really a lot of this, the 280,000 that was budgeted. That was chief, you kind of figured that out from just talking with,
We talked to a local contractor. Give us an idea of costs, just so we have a starting point for a budget.
yeah. So, and then I think a lot of the new design is kind of historical information, and talking with Rick here, he's been with the city for a while, and kind of discussing operational wise, how much does he believe we should expand? So do you feel comfortable with what the design is proposing, or
Just one or two little things I'd like to change on that design. She just kind of hung backwards. The kennel's running out. They don't need to face each other, because then you're gonna have dogs fighting each other all day. It should be one facing one direction, the other one following the backside of the building.
Right.
If they're just like this, that's gonna be a dog fight.
All right.
The whole purpose of that is so we can get them in and out. If you're talking about expansion, I think that's definitely something that's going to need to be addressed, because you just started, but I think in the last year, 3 or 4 or 5 times, maybe we're at complete capacity. And we talk about our 20 cats. I've got cats that I keep in dog crates.
So let's do this after our meeting, Rick, whenever you're ready, come by my office and explain to me everything you're discussing. Because I know I've asked you before, do we feel like we have what we need here? But if you're thinking that you may need some additional kennels or rooms or whatever.
I just think future right now, we've always been able to maintain. We've always been able to maintain, but the way the island, the development and stuff on the island,
Mhm.
I think while we're putting this money into it and
Yes.
updating and getting our ducks in a row, we need to
Look
start looking at the big pond.
Come and visit with me whenever you can, and bring your proposals so we can take a look at it. I have the current drafts right here. So take one of these, draw on it, come by my office, and then hopefully next time we can, before we have our next meeting, whatever he's recommending about, I'll make sure to share with our architect, and any other ideas that y'all have, make sure to email me and I'll share with the architect. So next time we can kind of look at this.
My suggestion is just that if you already have information from the development office as to when to expect this surge of
Mhm.
population, there must be some kind of direct link between numbers of people
Mhm.
and what to expect at an animal shelter.
So basically, like the size of population should correlate a number to
Yes,
expected animals.
yes.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research. Rick, do you think you can kind of look that up? Can you look into that?
I could do my best, we're just always been the odd duck, because, half the animals that we get in our shelter, they didn't come from Port A, they came from Corpus, and said they.
Yeah, I think what we're saying though
consistently
is
get
like,
dumped here.
there's probably a standard somewhere out there.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like I know Chief knows this, like in their recommendations on how many police officers you should have per the population, right?
Well, the problem is determining the population.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So maybe if you could look into that, and again, just come by my office when you're ready, and let's kind of, if you can find something.
No,
I don't know if there
absolutely.
is, I don't know if there is a number, but sometimes there are those kinds of
Does
things
that,
out there, right? A recommendation.
does that corpus assessment have that?
I didn't see that, but we can look
I
at it
didn't pay
again.
attention. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll look
Yeah,
at it.
I've got it. So I can try to look for that again one more time. In fact, I printed that for you, Rick. I'll give that to you. Yeah.
If we're kind of blessed here in Port A, we're all blessed here in Port A, but You know, even though it's expanding and growing all the time, local animals, we know where they live. We just take them home. You know, but you gotta, again, with the development and stuff coming in,
Development, you have to know.
Well, Cinnamon Shores, southwest.
that's a whole city. They should have their own animal shelter out there.
Yeah.
As big as that place is.
So you study the numbers during spring break to get dumped and during the summer to get dumped?
Well, it, all
Because you
that,
see the
you know,
curve
that, yeah, it does that. It's
So-
varies.
so-
Some year it's a nightmare. Other years, I think last year. We may have got one dog spring break, but the year before that, we got like 6 and a pregnant one and it just.
So does the development office take that into consideration when, for example, Cinnamon Shore South says
South,
we're going to
southeast.
expand,
The
you know,
third one.
all of this, and do they take into consideration, right? Okay, they're gonna need all these new services.
Right. I don't know if animal shelter is one of them that the development side considers. I think this is something that we'll have to kind of flesh out for ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I
And that's,
meant.
and that's, yeah, they've got a lot of info down there and they do study a lot, but I think for this one, we're gonna have to ask Rick to research that and see what you can find online. Like, there's probably some standard recommended number out there. And if you can find that, come by my office and we'll talk about your design recommendations and then that. And I also printed for you what she sent over and I need to give that to you still.
Okay. Yes.
Very good. Is there anything else? Anyway, for operations? Very good. Well, if there's nothing, we'll go on to C. We'll talk about scheduling the next meeting and what I'm looking at is if you guys are okay with that, it calls for in our ordinance that we meet quarterly, but would y'all like to maybe meet bi-monthly? Hear you guys'
Maybe
thoughts on that.
April instead of next month, so.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at in April. You know, the first week in April is technically the 3rd through the 7th, and I think that 7th is, you know, Good Friday before Easter, so. I don't know if maybe if y'all want to meet like that Thursday, would everyone be in town on this April the 6th?
I feel like yes, and I feel like I forgot to bring my calendar, but I think so.
What,
I
what
like
time
that
are you
first.
looking at?
Yeah, I think.
Whatever time was good for y'all, we can do another 11 a.m. or if y'all prefer the afternoon, we can do that as well.
What's
That's
better for
Thursday.
anybody?
Yeah, it's a Thursday. I have eye surgery that day, but it's in the afternoon, so.
Okay.
So can we just stick to 11 a.m.? Because
Yeah.
I thought Rick
Yeah.
said that.
Because if we get
Yeah.
up to 12, I can make the surgery.
Yeah, great. Well, that sounds good. How about April the 6th, which is a Thursday, 11 a.m.?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
In this building.
Yeah.
Yes, here.
now that'll get me moving on to our next topic. Fran, you're in here, right?
That's a.
Our city clerk, secretary. I don't know if you want to kind of explain what our process is for notifications to boards.
Sure, so notifications usually go out 72 hours in advance. They should go out 72 hours in advance. We talked earlier, we're gonna try to send like a push notification saying, hey, we got a meeting coming up next week to make sure everybody's on board and that can be here. Only because sometimes it changes and that with that being a month or 2 months away, it's hard for everybody to remember that they have a meeting coming in. So we'll send out a reminder the week before, send out the agenda and the notice 72 hours in advance. It is gonna come from Melinda Bentley. So Lawrence, you might have something, like he might be sending y'all stuff and asking questions if y'all have anything. But I think we'll have Melinda send it out to y'all. So it's consistent every month, unless there's something wrong, she can't do it. It might come from me or it might come from Lawrence, but we'll make sure she gets that out to y'all. If you have any attachments or any agenda items that you want to send to Melinda or get in the packet, make sure you send it to Melinda and CC Lawrence on it, so they both are aware and have the
Right.
agenda item and the backup information. for
Yeah, if you're requesting an agenda item, I'm glad you bring that up. Thank you. Please let me know and we'll make sure to get it on the agenda and I can coordinate that with Melinda. But thank you so much. That sounds great. Is everyone happy with that?
Yes.
I think that's a great idea. Thank y'all for the help, both of y'all. And I apologize. I know we discussed it at our last meeting, but we'll make sure to get reminders out and the agendas out. And then also with that, whenever we close this meeting, I'll visit with each one of you and make sure that the contact information I have here is accurate. Just to make sure we got everyone's emails and phone numbers right. All right, so everyone's good with April 6th, 11 a.m.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, very good.
And a reminder, if you got an agenda on, shoot me an email, or call me and we'll get that hammered out.
Yeah, and it's gotta be 72 hours before the.
Yes, we post everything 72 hours, and posting legally means on the city website and out front, right, yeah. Stuff in a newspaper is usually bidded out items. Okay, well, with that, I guess we'll close the meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Here.
All right, all those in favor? Any opposed?
Oh, you did. Five towns our size are, probably in Florida.
There you go.
Yeah.
And see, because they have similar populations, nothing.
Like Elvis, yeah.
But I do
Yeah,
have-
and see how many, what they have, for how many pets they have. For how many- Hey, listen, any pet owner that tells you that they can't care for their pets because of
All
that
of our island.
is a
And I
shitty
did
pet owner.
all of them.
They're expensive and it's hard to get a schedule exactly when you want it, but you can't.
Yeah, you have mine.
Yeah, you
want
to make sure that looks.
Yeah,